wanted to get your overall thoughts and opinions on it. Like, what veteran do you expect to step up the most? I know we had Tobias have a career night against the Hornets. Last night it was Malik Beasley. It's like overall, like out of Malik, Tim Hardaway, Tobias, who do you think is probably going to be the most consistent vet during the stretch without Ivy?
Yeah, I think Malik Beasley's been your most consistent vet, all season long. And, in terms of stepping up, to me, when I think of stepping up, not to get into like the semantics of the question, but to me, I think of who's going to be able to ramp up their production. I don't know if Malik Beasley can be doing much more than he is right now, just in the standpoint of his shooting and the scoring that he's bringing. I mean, to me, he's one of, if not the sixth man of the year, and he's right up there with Anthony Edwards for the leaders in 3-point shots made this season. So I don't know how much more he can do necessarily. So I think the piston that they do need to step up, and quite frankly, I think the one that kind of has needed to step up as the season has gone on, is Tobias Harris, just because of the fact that he is the one. Tim Hardaway Jr. was, someone they brought in on an expiring contract. I think it was kind of one of those things where you saw the value of what he could bring, but ultimately, since he's an expiring contract, I don't think he's necessarily in the long-term plans of what Detroit has going on here. It can kind of be seen as a wash, but he's still giving you good 3-point shooting. He's one of the league leaders in charges taken. I want to look up the numbers, but I'm pretty sure he's probably already taken more charges this season than the Pistons did all of last year combined, just with what he's been able to bring to the table. Tobias just needs to be shooting the ball better and scoring on a more consistent basis. Now, I do think it's important to point out that Tobias does bring the off the court, benefits to this team. He does, even when he isn't necessarily shooting the best, he's still engaged in the game. He still finds a way to, like, whether it's producing rebounding, whether it's making occasional good defensive plays, like he's still like making impacts on the game, even when his shot isn't going down. But the bottom line is they just need more scoring production from him. And, it seems like a lot of times when his shot's not falling, there's just not quite enough lift. Like they're always like just short. It almost just feels like his legs aren't always quite there, might just be dealing with the fatigue and things that come with age and with being, a player for as long as he has been. But again, he was a big component to them getting that win, against Charlotte the other night. When he's scoring and when he's affecting the game in that way, this is a much better basketball team. So to me, he's the one that has to step up. And again, with Malik Beasley's been your most consistent veteran. I just don't know how much more he can do because he's been doing so much.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. People were getting on Malik's ass, and he had 2 bad games, and we're like almost 40 games into the season, and it was like a 2-game like little slump, and people are complaining. The fact that like people are complaining just shows you how consistent he's been throughout the season of just being just like a flamethrower off the bench. I do agree with you with the Tobias point, because I think for this team to keep the trajectory that they're on, Tobias at least has to give you a good 15 points a night to give this team a shot to win. I will say, though, I think his defense has not been getting talked about enough. His rebounding, I think, has been excellent. I loved that he was guarding Miles Bridges this week. And, Miles Bridges, for what it's worth, the basketball player, we've seen him score 30 on the Pistons routinely over the years. I mean, he's taking a challenge of being a good defender, even at his age, at 32, even though we're the same age and I'm calling him older. It kind of feels wild to me. But like when you're talking about like 32 in basketball years, it's kind of older when a lot of these kids are 18, 19 coming out of the draft. But I think consistently, I'd like to see Tobias step up more. But if I did have to guess, I think Malik is just going to probably be the most consistent player to step up. Maybe instead of 20 points, he can get you up to 25 points. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean he's on pace to shatter the Pistons 3-point shooting records for a single season. Like he's having statistically the best shooting season a Pistons ever had with what he's doing. And I thought he was going to be solid as a shooter. Like we all knew his his history and his resume as far as that was concerned, but just the level of a 3-level scorer he's been, and just, the microwave that he's been off the bench, which, by the way, I know people are like, oh, why isn't he starting? He's part of our best 5-man lineup. But like, the truth of the matter is he is our second unit scoring. Like, that is where it comes from night
Yeah.
in and night out. And so to me, and the other thing, quite frankly, you're winning games. So like, why mess with a formula that's working? So that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, I put a bet on him to win sixth man of the year because I think it's between him and Peyton Pritchard personally. I think those are two guys that will definitely be in the conversation. Like, how wild would it be if you had, Malik Beasley, sixth man of the year conversations, and JB Bickerstaff, coach of the year conversations when we won 14 games last year? Like, what a just complete 180 from this team.
Yeah, I mean, what a massive 180 that this franchise has done. I mean, it's amazing what a year can do, because this time last year, like, we had just broken the 28 game losing streak and started another losing streak.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know this is completely off topic, and we'll get to the next topic after this, but like, when Washington lost 12 straight, I was just like, there's no way. There's no way they're gonna lose 28 straight games with all the talent that they have, like Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. But like, if they do, I'm not upset.
I would have, part of me would have, from a human element, you would have had to have felt at least a little bad for Troy Weaver having to go through that 2 years in a row, or even guys like Marvin Bagley. It's like, oh no, come on.
That would have just been like an all-time like NBA Twitter, like NBA Reddit would have had a field day with that. I already know.
Oh,
Like,
the memes would have been generational.